The following presentation is brought to you through the meaningful relationships created through NotaryStars.com. Notary Stars is the only notary training platform and resource library offering 150 plus hours of training on every aspect of a signing agent's career, including over 35 different loan products. Oh, and their loan signing agent training is available in both English and Spanish. Members of Notary Stars are definitely dedicated to signing agent excellence, together with partners like the Remote Online Notary Network, which focuses on notaries who are pioneering in remote online notary. Notary Stars strives to give you a safe place to ask questions, get answers, gain confidence in your notary career, and achieve success without over-fabricating the truths about our industry. If you would like to support Notary Stars or the Remote Online Notary Network, please consider liking this video, subscribing to their channels, sharing this video with a colleague, or becoming a member of either site and trusting them to help you achieve the level of success you desire.
Hey there, friends. Let's kick off the week right. We're thrilled to welcome you to General Mentorship, or as we like to call it, MGM. If you've had a seat at this table before, welcome back. If you're new, we saved a seat for you. Thanks for choosing to start your week with us. Our mission is super simple. It's to equip every notary with the truth, the tools, and the training needed to succeed. But honestly, we deliver something even more valuable: confidence, belonging, and professional pride. We have created America's most reliable network of notaries, a place where no one learns alone. And at NotaryStars.com, our training site, our comprehensive curriculum is designed for modern professionals, transforming the uncertain into the assured. Confidence is a skill, and we teach that along with everything from notary fundamentals, the stuff you absolutely need to know, complex loan files in both English and Spanish, advanced RUN training because, well, the future is now, guys, and high impact marketing strategies so you can find work and get paid. As a member of Notary Stars, you unlock daily live classes and you'll gain full access to our extensive on-demand video library. Seriously, no one else has a larger library than Notary Stars. We don't just train notaries, we make professionals. We offer real people, real instructors, and real results. And for everyone who is maybe not a member, you now have an option to book a dedicated one-on-one session with any of the instructors at Notary Stars for personal guidance. Kirsten should be posting those links in the chat. So by the way, guys, remember to save the chat before we close out this evening. As we do dive into today's session, remember this is a collaborative space. Please feel free to raise your hand, virtual hand. Ask any questions, share an experience, don't be shy. We're all here to learn and grow. So as we get started, I wanted to touch on our notary moment. It looks like that's going to be me as well. So you get to hear me talking a little bit more, John. Don't go to sleep. There's a bit of chatter about the method of identifying a signer as personally known. So you need to know, in a bygone era, this was the primary and often sole method of confirming identity, was personal knowledge, right? Nowadays, with all the fraud and deceit, this method has become highly controversial. The primary reason is that there's no widely accepted collaborative definition, with states adopting varying standards. Can't really put your finger on what is meant or what is defined as personal knowledge. So RULONA, the Revised Uniform Law on Notarial Acts, attempts to define personal knowledge as, quote, familiarity, I can't say this word, familiarity, there we go, with an individual resulting from dealing sufficient to provide reasonable certainty that the individual has the identity claimed. That doesn't mean that you've waved at your neighbor across your driveway 5 times in the past month. That doesn't count, right? You don't know them to be the person that they're claiming they are. Shoot, they might be in the witness protection program. You don't know, right? In states where personal knowledge is permitted, please treat it as a method of last resort and be certain that your familiarity meets or exceeds your state's legal definition. Ask yourself one question. Can I prove this in a court of law? Can I stand up and prove this under oath in a court of law? If you can say yes to that, then you're in good shape. Listen, California says no. There's no real definition for personal knowledge. They don't even allow a California notary to utilize personal knowledge. So, Mr. Mickle, are you ready to get this party started?
Absolutely. First, I want to say welcome to our two guests, Gabriel Sturgis from Idiomatic and John Nelson from the Apostille Training Company. These are people that we trust with helping us with these conversations. Although we offer interstellar training for loan signing agents, we also know that there are other experts out there that help us with our notary careers. So tonight's conversation is going to be highly hyper focused on document translations and apostille. So I've made both of you guys co-hosts. Just a couple of things that I want to go over before we get started for tonight. I do want to highlight the ever-changing Notary Stars website. And I did share my screen here, just make sure, Kirsten, you can see Notary Stars. So as you guys can see, you have your training menu when you're logged in, but when you're logged out, this is what customers will see. And I want to make sure there is a banner up at the top to let you know. So during the downturn, all of us had to learn new skills. It wasn't just loan signings falling in our front door. We moved on to estate planning. We moved on to fingerprinting. We moved on to translations and apostille. We moved on to doing I-9 verifications, and we still do the loan signing. And so we need to reward you guys with advertising to all of those customers. We do need your help. We know that some of you have unsubscribed to the Notary Stars newsletter because you're like, hey, I know where everything is, but you're not getting your leads if you unsubscribe from that. So we are actually giving you 2 hours to accept those leads, whether you're paying as a listing member or not. We need to make sure that the customers are getting the leads. We are sending them to you daily. So please make sure that you are subscribed to our newsletter. If you think you are not, just head down to the bottom of Notary Stars and subscribe. Okay? Because if you are not, if you are a member of this site and you are not subscribed, you are not getting your leads. Now you'll see that ever changing. All of the training has gone to the background. You now have to log in. You'll get your own menu. You'll get your own landing page. But this is now a customer-facing website and ever changing. You'll see changes every day going on for all of these things that we're all doing because we're drawing in those customers. We're making partners with attorneys for estate planning. We're making partnerships with everyone in those sectors, not just trainers, but people who are looking to advertise and bring in business. Of course, we've got Gabriel here from Idiomatic, who's our number one go-to for document translations tonight. But we're making those changes and really highlighting for a customer on Notary Stars on the front page. You guys have done the hard work the last 7 years. But one thing that I want to talk about tonight is you might have noticed the coming soon for the accidental notary. Guys, we are literally holding the proofs in our hands right now. We had to go back with one little change that we needed. This is about to come out, so please keep your eyes set on this coming soon here. This accidental notary, we are going to want your support. This is for everyone in the industry, but it's also for the people who are going to hire you. Okay, a lot of those people who got notary stamps that think that they can guide you, this is going to be the book that you can refer to give you that confidence to say, let's have a real conversation about what you're asking me to do. Okay, so it's going to give you the power. And just so you know, the foreword for the book was written by the former president of the American Escrow Association, and the Notary of the Year from the NNA, Marcy Thibodeau, wrote the commentary on this. So It's kind of a big deal. Like we didn't just get some foo-foo work put into this. So just wanted to point that out to you and make sure that you're aware of those changes. I'll stop sharing the screen now because I have a bad habit of just leaving it going. So just make sure to keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be launching that book at any moment. Now, before we get started, because we're already 10 minutes in, guys, and we only got like an hour to do this, I would like to ask if it's your first time here, put a one in the chat. I would love to know for those that are very first time here ever. Um, Welcome, Tressie. Welcome, Kaylani. Welcome, Maria. Oh my gosh, there's so many new first people. I'm not going to be able to keep up with this. Welcome. Oh my gosh, welcome all of you. That is a lot of first timers here. Um, if you are a long timer with us, put a two in the chat. I would love to know. And I know this one's going to go, 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 go. Yeah, I love all of you guys. I can't even start with the names because it's just going. Blah, 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 blah. Now, okay, okay, guys. There's so many people on the call right now that it'll be hard to get everybody in the chat. We got to keep going. If you are interested or already doing document translations, put a three in the chat so we can kind of show those people that are brand new with us. Oh, that look at how fast that went up. That's awesome. All right, and if you are interested or already doing apostilles, put a four in the chat. That went even faster than document translations, which was impressively fast. Listen, guys,
It's 56, Ronnie.
yeah, it's blowing up over there. Listen, guys, we've got the experts in house with us tonight. Um, as we start tonight out, we need to also know what else you're interested in. While we're starting tonight, please put in the chat, what are your interests? We go back and review this chat so that we can cater these sessions directly to you. So I see estate planning going in there. We have that coming. Tax prep. We've just had Samantha here last week. We got a big presentation, fingerprinting, estate. So we see a lot of estate planning going up. Marketing, estate planning. Great. We have all of that coming for you. Please keep it coming. And I love three and four as the comment. Miss Beth, I think it's time that we start to. I think we have one shout out from Amy. Is that correct?
Let's see here.
Amy, did you have something that you needed to share?
I was just going to share that we've actually, in addition to Notary Stars getting a lot of leads, we've been getting a lot of attention at Remote Online Notary Network. That too is sending out leads, and you must be subscribed to the newsletter at Remote Online Notary Network to get those. And it's been a lot of apostille work here lately. We've been seeing about 3 to 5 a week, if not more, come across. So I hope that anyone that's in here tonight is definitely connecting both in person and online to help their customer no matter where they are.
Awesome. I think it's time to shift the conversation because we got 45 minutes left, 46 minutes actually. I think it's time to shift the conversation toward document translations and apostille. So I'm going to kick this off with a little bit of document translation and then move it into apostille. So actually I'll cater off the Ron first. So we actually added a question in at Remote Online Notary Network into the customer journey. And so when you're working with people who need a RON, a lot of times you're working with people who are not in the US, okay? And so, and especially because Notarize doesn't really make it easy for someone who is offshore to work with them, you are the next best thing if you know how to market your company. And the number one question that you should ask your customer is, do you need an apostille? Do not uh, do not take for granted that if they're offshore, they're having a document used that has to be done here, but also is being sent back to the other country. They may be leaving your business and going to another business that is advertising apostille. You are leaving money on the table if you are not asking that question with remote online notarization. Some states make it easier than others and accept electronic signatures. Some of them don't. So sometimes you may not need to be the notary who facilitates it. Sometimes you may need to be the notary who says, you know what? if you need this apostilled, I can make this easier for you. You can still earn your remote online notary fee by referring another notary and facilitating that apostille in another state that accepts electronic signatures. It all depends on the document, which Mr. John will attest to later tonight, I'm sure. But make sure you're not missing that on the table. The other thing is in document translations, and then I'm going to go over to Gabriel. I have found when I'm doing my apostilles is asking the customer, do you need this translated as well? A lot of times they're coming to you after they've had the translations, or they're coming to you before and they'll need the apostille. There's a lot of questions that you need to add into your conversation that I'm still learning. I've only been doing this about 6 months and it's growing and growing and growing. In fact, today we've had 5 apostille inquiries, the highest of all today. So with that said, Gabriel, why don't you tell us what's new in the world of document translations and what you're seeing um, over at Idiomatic and with the growing community. By the way, congratulations, you just hit 500 affiliate partners. Congratulations on that. Why don't you tell us what you're seeing with the notary community and what's going on at Idiomatic?
Firstly, good evening, everyone. And yes, thank you very much. We're at 510 affiliates now. We hit 500 last week or the week prior. I don't remember exactly. But that's a lot of the people who are here tonight are our affiliates. And I want to thank everybody for being part of the community. And it is just like the Notary Stars group. This is a community. Um, I've talked with most of you who are affiliates. This is not some sort of nameless, faceless organization business that we have, which is how we want to keep it. And we're going to work very hard to keep it that way. Um, so with that said, um, in talking with a lot of you and actually having one-on-one conversations, either on the phone or video chat, um, so many people ask us, how do I promote what we do? How do I promote translation services um, related to notarizations, related to apostilles? Um, and now that we have, I would say, a large sample size, over 500 people who we can study, as we do analyze all of the data that we get. Um, it's a, a range of factors that help people be found and to promote document translations. Um, so what is that? What am I referring to there? Obviously, LinkedIn, that's a big one. Having a strong website, that's another big one. Google My Business, obviously, that's a huge one. Um, and something that we've been discovering more and more lately, um, and this goes along with AI, is our forums. And by that I mean Quora, Reddit, any sort of like community forum. Why is that? Um, as the internet now is being filled with more and more junk, AI generated content, which does have its place and it is actually very effective for SEO purposes. Search engines are now being trained to find information from real people, actual real conversations, and what they consider as highly human conversations. Um, Someone who is worthwhile following, if anybody is interested in SEO or learning how to make themselves found on the web, is someone called Neil Patel. Um, he has a very, very interesting website and very good newsletter. I recommend it. And I started looking this up maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Um, he suggests on all of the major search engines, well, also through major search engines and through major AI modules. So ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude. One of the platforms that draw information across the board is in Reddit. So doing a bit of playing, doing a bit of testing on my end, and it does work. You go into any sort of forums talking about international, I don't know, relocation, talking about obviously just directly apostilles or directly about translation, immigration. That's something that, and you post in it. You don't want to sell, The goal is not to say, oh, by the way, I offer this service. The goal is to actually provide interesting advice to these people. I don't know, maybe someone, you look in the forums, you can find them. There's forums on everything. You can find like a subreddit about notarization. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm living abroad and I don't know how to notarize a document. Um, I don't know if a notarization is valid in such and such a place. You can chime in with your information, blah, 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 explain whatever they're explaining, or about apostilles, or about translation services, and then how it links. And then that eventually builds as an expert. You can always link your page, but not selling, just providing information. And that's a very high quality link and backlink from uh, from the internet to your website and to your business.
Gabriel, I will tell you, and to tie this into Apostille as well, one of the things that I teach the students here, we do really well. We get found in ChatGPT quite often. I called you and said, "Wow, certified document translation got found in Apostille." One of the things that I did a seminar on last year, and it's still a part of my marketing course now, is what we call helpful content. What you're talking about is helpful content, and I just want to give you guys an idea with this website, which is also owned by Unlimited Ink, is find a professional notary apostille agent near you. And on this website, what we're doing is answering those questions. We're not trying to sell to them. We're saying where can you get your vital records? We're letting them know why you might need an apostille. Can you get one yourself? Same thing for document translations. Answering those questions that are most commonly asked on the internet within your website. They already know that you're doing the job when you have your website. Creating helpful content is what Google's all about now. It's the 11th hour of the internet where they're basically wanting you. And I have companies and students alike who have said, well, if I tell everybody how to get an apostille, then they're just going to go do it themselves. And that is absolutely wrong. If you tell everybody, sure, your cousin can go and translate your document, and then they can take an oath. I guarantee you there's a lot of cousins out there that are going to be a little nervous to put their name on a translation and swear that it's a true and correct translation just because they speak two languages. Mr. Manuel's here. I love Mr. Manuel. He speaks English wonderfully and he speaks Spanish wonderfully. Mr. Manuel, for if let's just say that a family member came to you and said, would you go before the entire government and translate this document and take an oath that it's 100,000% correct? Would it not be nerve-wracking for you to kind of take that oath?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely
Yeah.
would be.
And I mean, you translated our entire course, but it would be a little nerve-wracking to say, I'm translating this document, and if anything goes wrong with it, call me. Because that's what they're saying when they take that oath, right, Gabriel? They're saying,
Absolutely.
I'm the responsible party if something's done wrong. If I tell you this person's 27 and they're actually 19, there's a problem there. So you have to be very careful. And we talked about this the last time that you guys were on. Um, One thing that I want to bring up, and this is something that Mr. John could probably chime in on. I'm seeing a lot of problems with this lately, and I know that a lot of you guys are using the marketing class to help facilitate after you do the document translation because you're not yet trained with Mr. John to do the apostille, and I've told you guys, hey, we'll help you and hold a hand. And this may be something that your team needs to know about too, Gabriel, because I know that you're moving toward apostille as well. So when a document comes in like a birth certificate, or a marriage certificate or a vital record, what we found is a lot of states won't apostille them if they're not issued within a certain amount of time. Mr. John, can you tell us a little bit about that? Why that's happening with apostille?
Yeah, that's been around a good little while, Ronnie. And I think there's a move even more now in the international community to stop fraud and to stop people from passing things through. Evidently, that happened a lot with academic documents. Like some countries never did accept online and some now have stopped who were doing before. So, if people can find a way to steal, they will. It's just, it's just human nature. And so nations have to do, to something to stop that. But it's just not it's not a new issue, Ronnie. It's sort of like been around, you know.
One of the things that we found is that a lot of the states, when they, or the excuse I was given by Texas, and I'm using that as an example, is if it's issued within, some states want 2, some states want 5. So we've just made it a company policy. If we're going to translate or apostille your birth certificate or marriage certificate in any state, we need it within 2 years. And some websites say that they do, some don't. But what's happening is remember when that county recorder, when you're born, they stamp that document or put some sort of seal on it. And then you grow up and you become 45, and 45 years later, the person who was 20 is no longer working there. And they can't verify that that person was an actual, worked for the state or what have you. And so when you're going for apostille, a lot of times they'll ask, can you get it from the vital records community? We actually use this website here, guys, and we use it with a lot of our customers, and it's going to be different for every state. So don't just think, oh, I'm just going to tell them to go for this link. It's the VitaCheck with the CDC here. And I'll put this in the chat. This is the one that we have linked out. You can click on any state, and this will be helpful to you. And I always tell people you need to know how to facilitate apostilles in every state, because like today I have one, and the lady has a marriage certificate from Rhode Island, but the birth certificates are from New Jersey. So they are both from New Jersey. They met in Rhode Island. They got married, and now they've been living there. And now it's 2 vital records. Those are 2 different states that I have to do. And she also needs to do the translations. And this is something that for both John and Gabriel, because I'm still learning, guys. I mean, I'm doing it. I'm out there treading water. We're making great sales on apostille and document translation, but we're also crossing levels of business where these questions are coming up. So I've also noticed that there are some countries, and we're just starting to tell clients, we need your instruction sheet. We need to know what you're reading in order for us to facilitate this. So can you share that with us? But for instance, there are some countries that want you to have the originals apostilled, and then they want them translated, and that becomes certified. But then they also want the certification apostilled as well. There's some that just want the apostille of the originals and then the translation. Mr. John, can you speak to that as well for the entire community? Is that just a country by country basis, or?
It definitely is country by country. We have people who are requesting, I think sometimes the local authorities want to have a translation and it's not really required by that country, but the attorney or whoever is handling that for them there states that they want an apostille. A translation. Certain countries is not optional. The translation has to be there. The only time that I question a client when it comes to translations, I said, are you sure you need both? And this is why the document, as well as the translation legalized. I'm cutting myself out of a apostille if that's the case, but I'd rather them learn the truth from me than they do it and find out that I hosed them, that I knew that was not required. So I just don't think that that's a required, because a lot of people assume that they need a translation. Believe it, you'll be surprised, because I always ask, do you need a translation? Because I want to make sure that I do it right for them. And some people will say, well, I think, and other people will say, well, the attorney told me. I said, well, we'll do what you want, but I'm asking you to check to make sure. That's the approach that I take. There are a lot of things that get translations that really are not required. But I will not argue with a client. If they say that they want a translation after I've expressed, how I feel, then that's fine. I'll go ahead. But I much prefer that than to have it the other way around. I went to you before and this was done and you knew it wasn't done. I feel a little guilted. So Ronnie, that's kind of like how I run it because the put like this, the countries that require it is cut clear. They make it known that a translation is a must. But not only that, and we teach this, and I know Gabriel knows this. If you have any document in a language that's not English, and it has to go as the U.S. Department of State, a translation is mandatory. That's not optional. You send it, you just wasted about 2 months' time. When they get to yours, they're going to turn right around and send it back because the translation is a necessity. So things like that, American notaries that do apostille, they should all be aware of that. If it's in a foreign language, I have to have, it's a must, it's not optional to have a translation. So there are these must-have. That's a must-have, and the other must-have is for countries that say we must have. So those are two things, Ronnie, I'd like to point out. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, Gabriel, I do want to get back to something for you really quick, but I want to point this out to you guys. So I'm going to show you Unlimited Ink Notaries website, which all of you have access to have a website just like this because I sell it as a template. It does reach nationwide. I want to show you 3 places that you need to have the questions. Okay. So if I go to my order a translation here on Unlimited Ink and on Certified Document Translations, excuse me, you'll notice that on this form, we'll ask, do you need an apostille of this? And when they say yes, we start asking the questions. It's a form that we built on JotForm, and I teach that in my marketing class as well. If they say no, then they don't need it. Okay. But it does ask if you need the apostille. That is one space that you may be missing dollars. And I will tell you, for the notaries that do refer business, there are a lot of times, and I just told 2 of them, they said, can't we do everything through you? And I said, no, these are my students. They use the same partner company that I do to translate the documents. Please work with them and we'll help you with the apostille. I want them to keep going. Okay. Now, here's the second place. When we request an apostille and we go in for the quote on apostille, you'll see that we're asking the inverted question here. Do you need the documents translated? Okay. You're missing money if you're not asking on both sides. Third place I want to point out, because we can't leave our remote online notaries who are not doing either or at the moment. When you're doing a remote online notary, when you come down to our order form, you'll notice that one of our questions at the bottom of our form is if you need the document, if you'll be using it in the United States. If they say, yes, I'll be using this outside of the United States, then we start to capture information for apostille. These are 3 places that you will be missing revenue, and our revenue is increased since we added these, and these were just in the last 5 weeks, guys. We just added these questions in the last 5 weeks, and they are already increasing revenue, and it's already attracting more clients because we're becoming a one-stop shop. Okay. If I notarize your document, are you using it in the United States or outside the United States? I almost think that there's a missed opportunity for in-person notaries when someone says, I need to get this notarized. I'm immigrating to, Ecuador. I'm going to live in Ecuador. I'm applying for my citizenship. Oh, well, do you need an apostille for this? Apostille is a very confusing world. It is a balance beam that you have to walk across one foot in front of the other. And these 2 partners that we have here with you tonight can help give you the education on both sides. Now, John doesn't work in document translations. Gabriel doesn't work in apostille, although I'm trying to bridge that gap here. I think these are going to be best buds at some point. Um, but they go hand in hand, and that's why we've combined this session for you guys to kind of take this in and all together. We've got some hands raised, and I want to make sure you guys know we've got about 25 minutes left in this session. I'm sure all of you are scratching your heads as thinking things. So please, and Miss Beth, I know we had somebody write in a question on apostille today for the session. If you've got that up there, if you want to look that up while I take the first one. Alicia, you've had your hand up so long, I'm pretty sure your arm's about to fall off. So if you want to ask your question, I'd love to hear it.
You're funny. All right. My first question is the book. Last session, I heard about the book, and I know the book is coming soon. Um, is there a price on the book that I could be looking out for?
That's a great question. Miss Beth, are we ready to release that, or are we gonna wait until we have the final?
We don't quite have the book ready for you yet.
Okay.
When it does release, it'll be under $20. So,
I'm
um,
eager to get my hands on it. So am I just buying it straight from Notary Stars, or is it going to be released on Amazon? Where is it going to be released?
There will be a special for members first. Um,
Okay,
we definitely try to offer discounts and things to our members first.
got it.
Um, keep in mind, we still got to keep the lights on, so don't expect a crazy,
Understandable.
but we are definitely members get everything first. They get access to everything first. Probably should mention this. Sorry, I have to cut into this. For those of you who only want a local website, that special ends this Friday. So if you got the email about that, that special ends this Friday. But the book will have a slight discount on it for all current Under the Roof Notary Star members, and then it will be released for the public. So that we were definitely going to take care of our members first.
Okay, and then my next question, the information that you have on the website for the apostille, is it for Hague and non-Hague countries?
So you mean the information for that we have on Notary Stars?
Yeah, on the platform. When you go in and you
So
said you're missing out on both sides if you don't put in um like for translation purposes, or is it being apostille in the United States or outside of the United States? Um,
so this is going to be a really great time to plug John's course, okay? Because it's not just about the country that it's going to. And when I built my first form for quotes, we got none. None. Absolutely none. Zero. No quotes. Um, and I say it that way because the conversation was too complicated. These people are going through complications already trying to figure out how to get an apostille done. So we made our form more simple. And so the information that we have on the website doesn't ask them if it's a Hague or non-Hague country. That's for you, the facilitator, to know. That's for, that's when they bring you a country, you should be able to, two questions right off the top of your head. What type of document is it? Is it federal or public document? Can it be done at the state level or does it have to go to DC? And the second question is it a Hague or a non-Hague country? They shouldn't have to think about these things.
okay.
And so I don't ask them anymore if it's a Hague or non-Hague. And Kirsten was with me when I built the first form. And I have to tell you, we changed it, and now we have 5 inquiries coming in a day all over the country for different states because I
Okay.
took that out. It was too complicated for the people who want apostille.
Okay. Got it. Thank
And I
you.
think Mr. John's class will really help you with that conversation. Have you taken John's class?
This is my first time meeting Mr. John.
Oh,
Um,
well, I'm so glad to be part of the introduction here. Kirsten, let's make sure to be posting John's information. And oh, we got it in the chat.
Thank you.
John can really help you define that conversation in your head of what you need to be thinking with the customer. What I've learned on my own is to have that knowledge as an arsenal, but you put enough on the website that it draws the customer in and they can do it themselves if they want to click off, but to keep them there so that they want to fill out that form. But if you make a complicated form or even a complicated intake form, they're already scared. Most customers today, and Beth and I, we just spent 4 hours, guys. I don't know of any other training company that meets for 4 hours every Monday. Amy's laughing because it's true. 4 hours meeting on how to make this simpler for you guys to learn. And I don't mean apostille, I mean everything. Because everybody wants something simple. So, Alicia, this is a great question, especially if you're newer. We got to take our education and use it and then kind of do to the customer what we are trying to do with you guys. We know we have a lot of training, we know we have a lot of things in our brain, but then truth be told, on the other side of this window that I'm looking through right now, you guys actually want an easier way to learn. You don't want you're adult learners. You have a life. You have laundry to do. You have kids to take care of. You got a mom to go visit. You got a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband and a wife to tend to. There's a lot in the adult world. So that will help you with your customers learning that little fact. And you guys are technically our customers, although we prefer to call you colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to make things easier, and then taking a class like John's can help you make it easier for the customer.
Got
And
it.
that's where I learned something very quickly in the last 6 months. I've always known loan signing, it's always been able to spout that out. I'm on the same journey that you guys are on, just so everybody knows here. There's a reason why John Nelson is here and Gabriel Sturgis is here, because I'm on the exact same journey that you guys are. I'm not even trying to front that I am the front runner of this. This might be Notary Stars, but this episode, when we're doing apostille and document translations, nobody on this panel except for Gabriel and John are experts.
Okay, and then my last question to wrap it up real quickly for you. Um, how soon are you guys going to start offering estate signings? I've done a lot of those. And my next question is, if I haven't passed the test because I have to go through the modules to retake the test. So if I don't, let's just hypothetically say in a scenario, I don't pass the test again, I can't take any signings, correct?
So you're talking about the unlimited ink onboarding test?
Yeah.
Perfect time to announce this. I still have the
And that's
this
it. I'm
up.
going to mute myself.
So we do have an onboarding test at Unlimited Ink Notary. We do already offer estate signings, as well as apostille through Unlimited Ink Notary. We have an onboarding test that you can come on. There is a video that is an hour and 23 minutes. You are going to need some sort of training to pass this test. Okay. We have a very low percentage rate of passing. We've only had so many people take it so far, but I will tell you that your training at Notary Stars will come into play. Your training with the NNA will come into play. If you want to get on our list, now those that have been working with us for years, there are people taking your place on the list. You need to take the test. If someone comes in and we have people making 100 on the test, they are taking the place in their community. This is your time to really shine with what you know. So this is the test you're talking about. If you do not make a desirable score, you do have to wait 30 days to take it again. And we do suggest that you go back and revisit training. But guys, we are now offering all of these services to the nationwide community, not just estate plans, which we have some great estate planning partners and growing. We want to make sure that you are there ready to service those clients. I hear every single day from a notary, I'm the best. I've done it, for 25 years. And then I send them out and then they just completely don't do a great job. I trust Notary Stars training. I trust Signing Agent Basics. I trust Notary Academy. I trust Laura, Coach Me Laura. I trust Notary Coach. You name it, I trust it. Okay. Doesn't matter where you got your certificate. We give loan signing system people a lot of their first time. Okay. But when you onboard with Unlimited Ink, Notary Stars is a great sandbox to build the castle, but Unlimited Ink is the battlefield. That's where we protect the castle. Okay. And I have to have good notaries out in the field. So it's a great time for you to show your score. If you don't make a desirable score, you can come back and try it again in 30 days. In that 30 days, we hope you'll go take training somewhere that will help you get on that list. And it's not a pass or a fail test. It's just we are looking for 85 and above. And we don't tell anybody what you made. Nobody's going to know but us and you. And if you want to try harder to get higher up the list, we want you to, but we want you to take some time to train in between. You you can take a test over and over again and guess the answers. That's not going to help you or us or any of the clients out there. What's going to help you is that barrier of going back and refreshing your mind. So I do appreciate that question. We got to get back to the topic for tonight. Miss Beth, did you find that question by any chance?
I did. Do you want Manuel to read them?
Yes, let's let Mr. Manuel introduce this question.
There's actually two from the same person. Manuel, just read the first one first, please.
Got it. This came from Sandra B. for Mr. Ronnie. A friend needed her birth certificate, medical records translated and notarized for the attorney in destination country to obtain an apostille to send to Costa Rica. She had the document translated and a certificate of translation was provided. My understanding is that I just had to notarize the translator certificate and needed to witness the signature aside from identify. Translator was adamant that he didn't need to appear before the notary, and he even went as far as to say that his wife, who is an attorney, stated he did not have to be present. Please advise. Thank you.
Okay, so this is definitely a question that I wanted to be brought up tonight because Gabriel, who works in translations, will be the perfect person to answer this question. So, to reiterate, Gabriel, the ultimate question is the translator was adamant that he didn't need to appear before a notary for the translation. How do you feel about that?
So, for us, if a document has to be if a translation has to be notarized, then so you could look at this two different ways. Either the translator, him or herself, has to appear, or what we do in our case a lot of times is the representative of the translation company has to appear before the notary to sign. And so it would be what I'm learning on my end about notarizations, it would be a jurat. So the person signing, attesting that the document is true and correct to the best of their knowledge. Now, if we're going on technicality here, you could say it doesn't necessarily have to be the same person who does it. Why? Because if you're a company, you have multiple people who touch the document. So you would have translator one, for example, you would have your reviser, then you would have your project manager. Everybody looks at the document and goes through it and processes it at some point. So that's one way. That's one way to look at it. On the other hand, let's say that's on a very technical, nitty-gritty level. On the other hand, though, on a more general level, which, as you're saying, not confusing your client or not confusing, let's say, any colleagues, in the notary space, somebody has to sign off on it who has touched and seen and understood the document. So simply because that's what you're notarizing. You're not notarizing. You're not having the bearer, the person who has the original document. They don't need to sign anything. You want to attest the fact that the translation is real. So you have to have the person who's worked on that translation to sign off on it. And otherwise, you can't get, in the cases in the countries where they do actually need the translation to be apostilled, you can't do that without the translation being notarized in the first place. So it has to be notarized by either the translator himself or someone in the company who has touched and thoroughly reviewed the document.
And Gabriel, I think it's fair to say that the question that goes back to the notary that put this in, and I don't know if Sandy B is the same as Sandra B that put that in, because Sandra and Sandy could be I see a Sandy B here tonight. I don't know if that's the same person. But I think a great question back to the notary working with a translator should be, am I using a professional translator? And defining what a professional translator is in all, because I see it a lot of times, and I had a bad experience. I've explained this to you, Gabriel, where I was going through immigration with my ex-husband, and it was just a bad situation with the translators that we used. It didn't. They kept doing things poorly and not notarizing things properly, and didn't have the correct certificate on it. A professional translator, to me, would already have those. You wouldn't feel the need to go ask another resource if they were that professional about it, right? Like, you got to trust your resources. So make sure when you're making your partnerships with translators, I get emails now that we've added this into our business. Can we be a translator for you? Can we be a translator for you? Can we be a translator for you? And I think in all those emails, I've only sent Gabriel one and said, maybe you want to check this one out. So you got to ask yourself, are you partnering with a professional company? You know, Gabriel Office offers college educated, tries to strive for a college educated, doesn't always have to be, but native speakers, people that, uh, actually were born speaking the language and that sort of thing. I mean, these are things that are, and these people are dedicated to translations. Like we're dedicated to being a great notary. His company's dedicated to being the best translators. And so you have to ask yourself, is this just somebody translating one time? Have they done it 20 times? Are they doing this for a living? Is this their like career? So you got to ask yourself and make those assessments when you're making partnerships. Um, Manuel, I know there's a second part to that question, so I'd love to get that one and get that part in there as well.
Yes. Another friend recently went to a pop-up apostille event. He obtained his apostille, but then planned in obtaining his translations and notarization afterward. Is that possible? And if it is, in what situations is it okay to get translations and notarizations after the apostille, if ever?
I think this is really for Mr. John, and I think we kind of addressed this before, but Mr. John, I'll let you speak to it because, in my opinion, you can't make the decision because every country is going to be different in what they are wanting from the customer. I mean, am I wrong there, or do you have a broader view?
Yeah, the document itself, the apostille, is handled internationally. There's no reason for a country to have an issue with that. Most of them have the terminology in languages broken out. If someone tells me they need the apostille translated, I have to question that. What I do is this, and I think is pretty standard and foolproof. You can have the document translated before or after the apostille, because if you're going to get a certified translation, the translation is concerned with the document. The translation, hey, if you're a country and you don't know what an apostille is saying, you shouldn't be working. You shouldn't be working in that office. An apostille is an apostille from a country. There's no need to translate that. It is the document. The apostille is issued by this country. You're going to tell another country they can't do that anymore? I don't think so. But it's the content of the document that is vital. That's why they want the translations, because certain terms, and I found this out in Spanish, do not equate. You can't use Google Translate. You will end up with things that mean completely different than the intention. So as far as getting the translation, to people in a rush, I said sometime, okay, I'm going to go. I'll go get your apostille today. We can get the translation done tomorrow because you have to get this out. And the reason I do it, sometimes translations cannot be immediate. It takes 2 or 3 days, but I can go ahead and get the document apostille quickly. And then we can get the translator to translate the document. Does that help answer the question? So it doesn't matter, in my opinion, it doesn't matter when you have the translation done, with the exception of a document going to the U.S. Department of State. That's mandatory. You can't do that. But documents going to country, you can get the apostille, and then you can have the document translated. Or you can have the document translated first, and then get the apostille.
Thank you so much. Uh, gosh, we could talk forever. There's so many nuances to apostille and document translations. The conversation will never be over, but keeping on our toes is the most important thing. Miss Beth, we've had a hand raised. Can you help with Terry Joe's question there?
Yeah, we have 5 minutes left in our session. Just enough time, Terry Joe. Go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hello, my question is actually for John and for Gabe. I had a problem come up with Egypt, with an order that that came in. They did a power of attorney, and for it to be legalized for Egypt since they're a non-Hague country. I tried to find out if the interpretation needed to be accredited, certified, something other than just having a person just interpreted it with no official notarization or anything. And I kept being told to get a hold of the Egyptian consulate, which I tried on several occasions. Can you tell me, John, if you've worked with them before?
See, yeah, Egypt has a lot of different requirements. Let me ask the type of document, whether it's a vital statistics. What you said was a power of attorney?
It was a personal power of attorney, which she did she got the form from the Egyptian consulate.
Mm-hmm.
What it looks like to me is a handwritten power of attorney that took up all the lines on the full page. And then she just had a person interpret it. But there was no verification of this person. And I never could get a straight answer. I put that question back into her lap to find out. And I never heard back from her, but became complicated with Egypt. I had to first go to the Secretary of State here, had to go to, then had to go to the State Department and then to the Egyptian consulate for a power of attorney. So I was just wondering if either of you have any more details on what I couldn't find.
They were requiring a translation.
They submitted the power of attorney with a handwritten translation, but not signed by anyone, not notarized by anyone.
Egypt might, I could do some looking into this, but Egypt might be a country that has an official translate, has official translators. Basically, the government puts on a test. The Egyptian government puts on a test. A person would take that test, and if they pass, they become an official translator.
Right.
That is something that I don't know off the top of my head. I can look into. And if not, then you would most likely want something that's no translation that's notarized by a translator, you know, on a doing a jurat.
Jurat.
Yeah.
Like just do a notary jurat for that person.
Yeah, but I can, if you send me an email, I can look into it for you. But off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't know if they need like an official translator approved by the Egyptian government or not.
See, if you're doing a power of attorney for Egypt, Egypt is non-Hague,
Right.
which means that. Let me ask you this: is the power of attorney written in English or is it written in
No, it's
Egyptian?
written in English and then transcribed into Egyptian.
Okay, well, being a non-Hague country, the document itself, since it is in English, okay, is going to have to go, we know, through the U.S. Department of State.
Right.
The translation, see, I haven't run into that. I was trying to scratch and look back over some of my, because I have a thing here, a little cheat sheet that has a whole ton of information for things that I run into. I haven't run into that with Egypt at all.
Thank you for thank you for your answer. I just thought I would ask you guys. I had also asked Judy Nelson, Judy Lawrence was unable, she didn't either have an answer. So other than they keep after the Egyptian, keep sending emails after emails after emails. And I sent them 3 and did not get a response back. So
Getting
anyhow.
responses from consulates and embassies is a flip of the coin. Okay, some you may never hear from, and some they may get back to you in about 3 or 4 weeks. You know, don't count on that. You know, if that were an issue, I would have stuck it in my app. You're the first person I've heard that. I, you know, evidently the person, my guess is the person in Egypt needs a translation. Okay, because that person doesn't understand English. That's the only reason. And I'm trying to piece this together as you share with me, because it's not a requirement as far as Egypt is concerned, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
Because I've never taken something to Egypt that required a translation. The only time we had translations if it was something in Egyptian.
That was translated to English.
Yeah, because the Egyptian document, if that's being legalized, okay, that has to go to the U.S. Department of State with a
Right.
translation. It's not optional there. But I haven't heard where there's no reason that person would send an Egyptian translation with a U.S. document in English. That. Gabriel, have you seen that?
John, I will be glad to send to you what I got when we're
Okay.
done. I know we need to close up here, but thank you so much for your time, Gabe and John.
Absolutely.
You're on mute, Mr. Mickle.
Remind one thing, and maybe we should make this a bigger part of the next conversation. When you're working in document translations, and Gabe, we got to keep this to a minimum. When you get something for Spanish translation, your number one goal is to ask them what country is it going to.
Mhm.
If it is going to Spain, it is a different type of translation, most likely, called a sworn translation. And Gabe, can you please remind us, and we'll bring this more to light next time, what is a sworn translation or what is a sworn translator?
Sure. So we can wrap up. The 30-second summary of this is a sworn translation is a translation done by a translator who has passed a test put on by the government. So that can be there's a lot of countries that have the concept of a sworn translator. Spain, a lot of the notaries, a lot of the affiliates request sworn translations for Spain because Spain is very trendy now. But basically, the government puts on this test, you pass the test, and they give you a stamp or a seal, like a commission, very similar to a notary, and that itself makes the document official. So that becomes a translation that is a sworn translation in the eyes of the receiving government, is essentially a legal official document for them. So that doesn't have to be notarized. It doesn't have to be apostilled again. It's good as is.
Thank you very much. That was a wonderful explanation. We'll explore this more. Guys, we have John and Gabriel join us. It's the last Monday of every month. Is that correct, Miss Beth?
Yes.
So let's give these guys a round of applause and let's give them our signature wave, guys, as we start to get out tonight. Please turn on those cameras. I'm going to say it the way I say it, and then Mr. Manuel is going to take us home with his advice. If you are not naked and you are not stuffing your face with a sandwich right now, please turn on those cameras. We have guests in the house. Let's give those signature waves. Wave to your fellow notaries, wave to the future notaries, wave to yourself if you come back and watch the replay so you can catch everything. And Mr. Manuel, why don't you take us home tonight?
Thank you, Ronnie. This is a very short one, but a strong one. Knowledge is the notary's strongest ally, turning every challenge into an opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manuel. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you all for spending Monday night with us, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.